Hi, I'm DKWILL. This is DKWILL Talk About It. You'll probably notice that the crypto markets are turning green. There's a lot of reasons for that, and there's a lot of reason for it to keep turning green. It's going to be things like this: that the SEC approves generic listing standards for faster crypto ETF approvals. How about things like this? The REX-Osprey launches first of its kind spot XRP ETF tracking the third largest cryptocurrency. That won't last for long, meaning it won't stay third for long. How about this? The SEC approves the first US multi-asset crypto exchange traded product from Grayscale. And let's add this: DBS, Franklin Templeton, and Ripple team up on tokenized money market fund trading. That's interesting. We talked about that in a prior video. BlackRock doing the same thing. So let's do this.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
Okay, well, we got a lot to cover. We're not going to get it covered by waiting for it to get started. Let's get started. Let's deal with this one first. The SEC approves generic listing standards for faster crypto ETF approvals. Of course, I said many times, this is DK. We'll talk about it, not necessarily DK. We'll read about it. So we'll read about it, but we'll talk about it. Probably talk about it more. But the U.S. Securities Exchange Commissioner Chair Paul Atkins says the new listing standards will reduce barriers to access digital asset products and give investors more choice. How is that going to happen? Well, by reducing the barriers, here comes the flood. Many financial institutions are going to create their ETFs based on crypto and flood in. And because of that flood, investors are going to have more choice. We'll find out as we go on that they kind of limit the investors, not the choices. Let's keep on going. It says here the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has approved standards that could speed up spot crypto ETF approvals. That's spot ETF crypto ETF approvals. Remember, we mentioned the futures, you don't even have to own the product. You're betting on the performance. The spot, you have to own the product, which may explain some of these hikes in prices. It says, as each application would not need to be assessed individually, the decision detailed in SEC filings on stock exchanges like the NASDAQ. There you go with the NASDAQ. The CTF is taking a major step to modernize its oversight of fast changing financial markets, replacing decades old surveillance technology with NASDAQ's market surveillance platform. We're all familiar with NASDAQ. Then there's the New York Stock Exchange ARCA. Now, we did talk about that in a prior video, the New York Stock Exchange ARCA, but that's where the top exchange for listing and trading exchange traded funds, interestingly enough. And then, of course, we have the Chicago Board of Exchange, BZX, and the Chicago Board of Exchange deals primarily with options. So we got the ETFs, the options, the stocks, probably the IPOs. Things are moving quickly. It says here that by approving these generic listing standards, we are ensuring that our capital markets remain the best places in the world to engage in cutting edge innovation of digital assets, SEC Chair Paul Atkins said in a separate statement. This approval helps to maximize investor choice, foster innovation by streamlining the listing process, reducing barriers to access digital products within America's trusted capital markets. What this means, folks, is that they have their hands now on the neck of the beast. We front ran them, but now they have it under control where they can set it loose because now they've managed to squeeze it into the traditional way of doing things, make people feel more comfortable with it, and reap the profits of doing so. And if we go to the SEC.gov, we can see that aside from the Project Crypto that was launched, the press release is right here that they approved this generic listing standards for commodity-based trust shares. Now, we're not going to read the whole thing. We don't have time because we have other things to cover. For instance, when you read this article, it speaks of down here, SEC sets out clear standards. To be eligible for listing a crypto spot ETF must hold a commodity. And I found that interesting. Are they calling these cryptos commodities? Must hold a commodity that either trades on a market that is part of the intermarket surveillance group with surveillance access or underlies a futures contract listed on a designated contract market for at least 6 months with a surveillance sharing agreement in place. What are they talking about? We don't have to know everything they're talking about, but what we do know is I did a little look and I found out that the Intermarket Surveillance Group, the purpose of it is to provide a global network for the sharing of information and the coordination of regulatory efforts among exchanges, trading securities and other products to address potential intermarket manipulation and trading abuses, arbitrage, to try to control arbitrage. The ISG plays a crucial role in the information sharing among markets that trade securities, options on securities, security futures products, futures and options on broad-based security indexes, as well as futures and options on other asset classes such as currencies, interest rates, energy, base metals, and precious metals. Can they make it any more complicated for you people? That's their goal. But what do we care about their goal? Well, we care about currencies, don't we? A lot of us ended up here because of the Iraqi dinar, and then it went from there to the Vietnamese dong, the Zim, the Bolivar, and all these other currencies. Isn't that correct? And then precious metals. I've been preaching gold and silver now for years, literally years. Did I say years? I mean years. And if you listen, you benefit. So do we care? Yeah, we care, because in getting ready for this new monetary system, they have to have ways to make these exchanges happen, to make sure everything is legit and surveilled. And for us, we're just on the beneficial end of it, because the system's in place and it becomes more and more user friendly. And guess who the users are? Us. So we still have to stay alert, aware, and educated, so that we know how to deal with these, at least on a self-sustaining, self-protective, self-enhancing level. What else you got, DK? Well, we got REX-Osprey launches first of its kind spot XRP ETF tracking the third largest cryptocurrency. What do we care most about this? It's a spot XRP ETF, meaning they have to hold the asset. Now, we can be sure that during this churning period that's been occurring lately, they were accumulating and they own the asset. We can relatively trust that that's the case. But what do we care? We care that it's kind of like when there's a leak coming through a dam or a wall, or take your pick, right? At first it's a little bit, but as it gains force, it pushes and pushes, then it starts picking up, and then it becomes unstoppable. And that's the kind of liquidity flood that's going to happen now that this seam has already been cracked with these spot XRP ETFs. It says, for the first time in the United States, an exchange traded fund tracking the price and offering spot exposure of the third largest cryptocurrency XRP has begun trading. The REX-Osprey XRP ETF, that's a mouthful, was listed on Thursday, that is today, with the ticker symbol XRPR. The two firms also launched their REX-Osprey Doge ETF on Thursday under the ticker symbol DOJE, Department of Justice and Equality. Well, it goes on to say they pursued a path to compliance by registering the product under the Investment Company Act of 1940, a federal law that regulates investment funds that pool capital from investors to pursue a common investment strategy in an effort to protect investors from conflicts of interest and fraud. Basically, that all sounds good. Whenever you hear consumer protection, you're not really being protected. I just got to be clean with you. You're being controlled. And so basically what they're saying is they want to control your investment monies. They want you to trust them, put your money together. It makes a lot of investment advisors wealthy because they're controlling the money and they have to keep their mouths properly shut, as I've been told to do. And they want to control the investment picture. They don't necessarily want us to be able to make riches on our own. So thank goodness to all of us who front ran the situation and already are on the spot they're trying to own, XRP. The SEC also approved the first multi-asset crypto exchange traded product from Grayscale. Now, keep in mind, Grayscale is the largest digital asset investment firm on the globe, if I remember correctly. Let's look into that. Well, when looking into it, this is the first thing that popped up new. Grayscale Ethereum covered call ETF. Echo. See the flood? The flood's coming, people. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is what I already said to you right here. Grayscale is the largest digital asset-focused investment platform in the world. We transform disruptive technologies of tomorrow into opportunities of today. Grayscale gets their approval for their first multi-asset crypto exchange traded product, and it's weighted down here. We're not going to read all this. I saw it somewhere. Where is it weighted? Here it is. This is where it's weighted. This is the Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, and when you scroll down, you can see holdings over here. And the holdings show the percentages of holdings, Bitcoin having the majority at 72%, but they are holding 5.62% in XRP. Now, keep in mind, of course, they'll manage the fund, weighing it and reweighting it accordingly, but holding the XRP means basically gorilla grip for them too, right? So more and more XRP is being taken off the market when these exchange products hold the XRP. The demand for XRP goes up, therefore the price goes up. So now they're catching up to us front runners. They're creating these exchange traded products, and they're going to get their gorilla grip on XRP and others. In the beginning, I said as we go along, we'll see that they try to limit the investors, not limit the choices. Now, this article here, DBS, Franklin Templeton, and Ripple team up on tokenized money market fund trading. Tokenizing money market fund trading. That's very interesting. In Singapore, September 18th, Reuters, however you want to say it, DBS has partnered with U.S. asset manager Franklin Templeton and blockchain firm Ripple to offer accredited and institutional investors trading and lending services using tokenized money market funds and Ripple's US dollar stablecoin. There's the limit on investors, folks. You either have to be accredited, which means you're either a millionaire worth $1 million, or you earn $200,000 a year in the last 2 years and you're expected to earn it again in the third year, or you and your spouse earn $300,000 a year in the last 2 years and you're expected to earn it the next year. Otherwise, you're not accredited. Or I did get accreditation one time. You have earned your Series 7 as a registered representative. That would also accredit you. But nonetheless, it is limiting the investors while the product choices are increasing. Because, like I said earlier, they're going to make their money. They're going to control our money and control us. And so they put it in money market funds, which is what most people go after. And the people who don't want to deal with individual stocks and they're afraid to, they do money market funds. So they're going to put those up and tokenize them as well, meaning you can buy a portion of a money market fund. Now, that's good if you're good at choosing the right money market funds and making money. But it does take the granular control of your own investments out of your hands. And you have to wait for net asset values and returns and things of that nature. And they're pushing us out of the crypto market now is what they're trying to do. Because before all this happened, we could go in and we could buy crypto coin here, crypto coin there, buy today, sell it tomorrow, make your money, be good to get yourself a 50, 60% return in a day or two. As they start accrediting the service, that will be reduced. And most brokers aren't going to want you to be calling them every day and saying buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So they're kind of removing the trading out for the regular individual. They put it like it's a wonderful thing. I don't see it as a wonderful thing. I see it as the way I've described it, a way to control assets. Now, it does offer the opportunity to buy portions when you can't afford the whole. Like I mentioned, the 700 and some $1,000 Berkshire Hathaway stock. I mean, the overwhelming majority of people can't buy a single share. So if you tokenize that, then you can get a piece of the share. And if it has a phenomenal return, you can have a part of it. The same goes for money market funds. This goes on to say that under the agreement, Singapore's biggest lender said that it will list Franklin Templeton's Benji token, the unit of the asset manager's tokenized US dollar market fund, money market fund, on the DBS digital exchange alongside Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin. In the end, folks, what it is saying that the crypto market is getting more and more molded, forced into the traditional financial systems with the traditional products and derivatives and brokers and financial advisors having access and control, which also means their bots have control, their AI has control, and the psychology of the market has even more interplay as the AI continues to figure out the human brain and manipulate people. And that's why you have to be a contrarian investor. That's why you have to listen to people like DK Will on DK Will Talk About It. And that's why you need to not allow yourself to get sucked into narratives, because you have to understand how one person puts it. Who is it? Waters above. You have to understand the lizard talk, the serpents, right? I understand them. I don't speak their language. I understand their language. And so it's like being around a bunch of people in a foreign country and you understand their language, but they don't know you understand their language. So they say all kinds of things about you, and you're sitting there listening to them, knowing every word they're saying about you, but they don't know that you know what they're saying about you. That's DK Will in the financial markets. I understand what they're trying to say about us, not just me, about us. And I'm here to try to help you. And that's why I talk about it. I'm DK Will. This is DK Will Talk About It. And I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.